You got a death wish?
Honestly, I miss making some of these videos, just kicking back, covering the latest and greatest in Fallout 4 modding. But hey, here we are again, showing you 5 of the coolest mods to be released for Fallout 4 over the past week. If you like guns, if you like weapon mods, this is going to be the episode for you. There's a lot of particularly cool things in that category, and I'm not going to bore you with the details, we'll just jump into the video. First and foremost, we have the M60 LMG. So ever since we actually saw the Fallout 76 trailer and a lot of people saw that Browning M2, a lot of people were like, I want more machine guns in Fallout 4. Apparently that's what my brain pictures many of you to sound like. Either way, we finally have at least one of them. This is going to be a collaborative project by a number of different mod authors, and it's pretty freaking cool. It's definitely not the highest quality in the world, but it's good enough, and definitely good enough to have quite a bit of fun with. It features custom reload animations as well as a few different modifications. You could change the caliber type to do varying degrees of damage, and this thing can seriously lay down some fire. But of course, with any weapon like this, the big trade-off is you have to have the ammo to back up some of those higher caliber type. You can mow down enemies freaking quick based on the rate of fire this does provide, but unless you have stockpiles of 308 ammo, you're gonna have a little bit of trouble with that. Either way, it is immensely satisfying to use. We without a doubt have a LMG or HMG kind of shortage in Fallout 4 modding. There's not too many options in this category, and this is going to be a great addition to it. It also is listed as being integrated into the leveled list, so even if you don't want to personally use this thing, encountering it will definitely make some of your foes a significantly more deadly force. So I saw this mod and I was like, it just pairs too well with the M60 I just showed you. JD's weapon overheating is going to nerf the guns of Fallout 4. What this is a highly configurable mod that's going to make it so when you're laying down fully automatic fire, your weapons will now overheat, and alternatively they may have a chance of jamming. When a weapon overheats, you're going to have to give it a few seconds to cool down, and when it jams, you're actually going to have to reload quickly in order to fix the jam. There's no real trade-off here. If those things happen, it simply inhibits your weapon for a few seconds. It's not like weapons all around do more damage now, but especially if you're in the later levels of Fallout 4, just trying to start a new playthrough, it definitely makes things a bit more challenging. If you get a jam at the wrong time, it can literally be deadly. I have everything kind of turned up in the background of this video so it occurs more often to make the footage a little bit more interesting, but everything with this mod is highly customizable. You can turn it on and off in an instant. You can actually configure how often things will overheat per caliber, so depending on what kind of ammo you're using or which size gun it's considered by the game. I won't bore you with all the details, but trust me, you could pretty much configure this mod to play exactly how you want it. If you want to almost never actually have overheating issues, you can make that happen. If you want to only occur on heavy weapons, you can make that happen. There's also integration with the existing perk system, so depending on your luck determines how often you'll have jams, and as you could probably tell, it does work with custom content such as mods because the M60 does work with this one. Either way, a really cool mod, maybe not for everyone, but it adds an interesting dynamic to the game. Then we have the Winchester Model 1897 shotgun. This is going to be a new pump action animation shotgun for Fallout 4. It's been quite a while since we've gotten a shotgun, but then one with pump action animations to begin with. Remember when the first pump action animations came out, it was like a huge deal. Everyone was super hyped for it, and since then we've had a trickle of content in that category. This thing is without a doubt quite a bit of fun to use. It has quite a few different modern scopes on it, so you can use the slug option to kind of use it as a pseudo sniper of some sort. But outside of that, it's a fairly basic and simple weapon. Something I liked is the receivers are actually determined by how worn they are. So the highest damage one is considered pristine quality and the worst damage one is well battle worn. But there was really no visual difference between those. It would be awesome if the worn one actually looked well worn on the outside, not just affecting the different stats. Without a doubt though, the coolest aspect of this mod that you've seen a little bit in the background is slam firing. If you guys don't know, with pump actions like these, basically slam firing is when you pull the trigger repeatedly but also pump it very quickly to kind of dump your load really fast in someone's face. I'm struggling to verbalize it, but hopefully in the background it kind of conveys what it is. It's almost like this will become a semi-automatic and you could really shoot quickly with this thing. It's one of the modifications you can apply to this weapon, otherwise just the typical pump action, and it is a lot of fun to use, especially versus some like higher level enemies. You could take them down very quickly, and I don't know if any other mod in Fallout 4 has actually really implemented that. Either way, definitely a fun one. Even if you don't love the look or aesthetic, you'll probably have a lot of fun just slam firing some enemies. So then the one you guys have been waiting for, the Kaiser Model Special, or Kaiser Model Special, however you do pronounce it. What it's going to do is add in a very different weapon into Fallout 4. Instead of pointing outwards, it'll point inwards. If nothing else, when using this mod, you'll definitely evaluate things. Think about the decisions you've made leading up until that point. On a more serious note, what this mod's going to allow you to do is take yourself out with a 44 revolver in Fallout 4. It seems like it is one-hit kill no matter what armor or how much health you have, things like that. But I gotta say, it is extremely effective at its job. One of my favorite usages of this is actually to give it to a companion that you particularly don't like, because when you get into combat, they will shoot themselves and then be downed, and then you could revive them and they'll do it again and again, and it's honestly kind of funny. You of course also could pickpocket this into other NPCs hypothetically, and they could do the same thing to themselves. That's always a fun aspect, but there also is a bit of a more practical one. That's actually going to be the healing variant of this gun. It's going to be a legendary edition that you can find, and this, instead of actually dealing damage to yourself or taking yourself out completely, will heal back some damage. It's way faster than a stim pack and works almost immediately, so it definitely has its benefits, and you're going to have to actually craft custom ammo for that one in particular. All around, this mod is probably meant more as a joke and funny, but the healing version actually is pretty good. It's fairly well balanced, and I could definitely see the appeal of using that on a character build. So last but not least, we actually have one that was ported over to Xbox One, and that's going to be Visible Weapons Extended. You guys have probably heard of Visible Weapons. It makes it so when you holster your weapon, it'll actually show up on your back. Visible Weapons Extended is going to build that out, so it supports a lot of different modded weapons out there. And even beyond that, just make it so you can actually have this little thing that is a piece of armor, so you can look like you have your weapon on your back. I'm only showing you a few of the different options, but it actually supports the 9x39 Project, AK-74M, Russian Recon Pack, OTS-33 Pernock, MACHINEGUN, RU-556, AUG A1, SVT-40, 6-OR P220, RPG-7, OTS-02 Kerparis, M1 Garand, Krebs AK, AKM, AK-5C, and the Elysium AK. So definitely a pretty good range of things. You're going to have quite a few options as to what you want to holster. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one, but we have a psych fun fact that is actually pretty interesting, and I think some of you may enjoy. So there was a study that tasked 150 college students with keeping a diary for 3 weeks. They were meant to write down the basic things, but the most interesting part about this was they were actually going to write down their sexual activity, including how pleasurable and intimate it was. Just as a side note, I really want to know how they pitched that. Like, hey, yes, please write down the nitty-gritty details of your sex life in this book for us to research and extrapolate on. Well, to keep things brief, what they found was having sex one day was associated with a more positive mood status the following day, which I'm sure most sexually active people would conclude that. They could see how that happens. But in addition, it overall led to a greater feeling that their lives were meaningful. And to be clear, it wasn't vice versa. It wasn't people that had meaningful lives or felt like they had meaningful lives had more sex. It was after having sex, people in general felt like their life was more meaningful. This is only one study, and it's looking specifically at college students, so you would kind of need further studies to test this on wider audience to see how large these results are and how widespread. Either way, I found this to be pretty interesting, and I wanted to share it with all of you. That's going to wrap it up for this video. As always, again, I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.